Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Go-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 2011280L. Call for additional details.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I am Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio, and we start the show again talking about more breaking news, another trade, and the Kansas City Chiefs got what they wanted. We've been talking about them getting a wide receiver. They traded for one today. They traded a fifth-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins. Yes, DeAndre Hopkins, he's not the player he once was, but he's definitely right now the best receiver on that team, and he's definitely going to help them and put him with Mahomes. I think it's going to be a really good combination. I think this team is going to really improve this offense, which has struggled a little bit. I mean, this team is 6-0, but a bigger reason why they're 6-0 is because of their defense, not their offense. Their defense has been outstanding this year. I mean, making that stop on opening night against the Ravens, Then you look at week 4 when they held the Chargers to 10 points, and then you look at and then you make that stop against the Falcons in week 3, week 5 holding the Saints at 13. Then last week, picking up Brock Purdy 3 times. Their defense has been a really, really good so far this year. Their offense is not terrible, but it is struggled a little bit. And I think this will definitely add a dimension to this offense. I really, really like this move for Kansas City. I really do. And the big question now is Kansas City the clear? Should they be the favorite to go to the Super Bowl for the 3rd year in a row in the AFC and the 5th time in 6 years? And I'm going to say yes. I know there's a lot of good teams in the AFC. I know Baltimore's been playing great. I know Buffalo just added Amari Cooper. I know Houston's 5-2. Even Pittsburgh, they're 5-2. But I still like the Chiefs more than any of those teams. I like the Chiefs more than any of those teams. With the quarterback they have and the player they just traded for in DeAndre Hopkins, to me, the Chiefs are the favorite to go to the Super Bowl for the 3rd year in a row in the AFC. Justin, do you have the Chiefs as the favorite to go to the Super Bowl for the 3rd year in a row?
Yeah, I do. It's just I don't really trust many of the other AFC teams right now. Like I know the Bills a couple years ago had them on the ropes, and we know what happened after that. Can you really trust the Ravens defense? I know they're great at stopping the run, but could they stop the pass? We really haven't seen that much yet. The Steelers, the offense isn't great. Like the Chiefs, and I'm a little worried about Houston right now. I didn't think they played great the other day. They really miss Nico Collins at the moment, so I still think they are. That defense is phenomenal right now, and you still have Mahomes, and they'll figure it out. They got David Worthy and two at the rookie spot, their wide receiver. So I still think the Chiefs with Andy Reid. I still think they are the favorite right now.
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah, you could look at the other teams, but yeah, Andy Reid. Eventually, Pacheco's going to come back. This is a really good move, knowing that Hollywood Brown is out for the year, and Hollywood Brown might return for the playoffs, and Rashid Rice is out for the year. So this is just a move where the rich get richer. The rich get richer. Hopkins and Mahomes together. The rich get richer with the defense. The defense is playing outstanding. So yeah, I mean, I think they are definitely the favorite in the NFC now. Seeing the way the Detroit Lions are playing, you might make an argument they might not be the favorite to win it all. But can they three-peat? Or should they be the favorite to three-peat? That's the big question. But in my opinion, I'm going to say yes. because until Detroit gets a legitimate edge rusher, I think they can get to the Super Bowl, but I don't think they can beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl. And you look at some of the other teams, the NFC, the Vikings. You're always going to question them because of Sam Darnold. You look at Green Bay. Yes, Jordan Love has played really well, but he does throw some. He throws some He does have a tendency to throw interceptions. Then you look at San Francisco, but they're all banged up, and I think Kansas City is just in their head. Let's be honest. Kansas City lives rent free in the Niners' head. I mean, the Niners just cannot beat them. So I mean, you look at the landscape of I even say Philly, but I still think that coach is still a question mark there. So I'm if Aiden Hutchinson was with the Lions, I might not be definitive in this because I might say the Lions, but right now, without Aiden Hutchinson, without a bona fide edge rusher in Detroit, I'm going to say Kansas. And I picked Kansas City before the season, so I'm definitely going to stay on them. I'm going to say Kansas. I'm going to say Kansas City. I'm going to say yes, they should be the favorite to win their third straight Super Bowl. Justin, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree because we haven't really seen anybody be able to knock them off that pedestal yet. And yeah, you mentioned the Lions without Hutchinson. Also, I know they got away with that one Sunday, but like running that fake punt on
I know that. We thought Campbell learned from some of that stuff. That stuff has got to stop. That stuff has got to stop with Dan. He's done a great job there. Give him credit. Stuff's got to stop. That's got to stop with Dan Campbell. He can't be doing stuff. They had that fumble too, so they almost gave. And they were lucky. Sam Darnold threw one away too.
Yeah, that Sam Darnold there was reverted a little bit back to his Jets.
He does that once every game. Revert back to his Jets Panther days. He does that once every game. I'm telling you, it happens once a game. If you watch their games, it happens once every. It happened against the Giants. It happened against the Jets. It happened against the 49ers. It happened against the Packers. He does that once every game.
Yeah, he's gotten away with it most of the year, but yeah, Sunday he did not get away with it. Yeah, it's not totally been able to get rid of all that tenure stuff from the Jets or Carolina, but that's still, the Vikings are still a good team, but yeah, it's like, do you trust Darnold in a big spot there in the Lions? It's like, yeah, they have a great roster, but yeah, I just, the head coach there, I'm kind of out in the Eagles. I know they look good against the Giants, but I know.
We'll get to them. We'll get to them. We'll get to them.
Yeah, and the Niners you mentioned, they're just so banged up right now. Like Debo's probably gonna miss a couple weeks now. Ayuk's out for the year. Like they're probably gonna rely on those rookies to kind of have to step up now and play. So yeah, I just think right now things are setting up beautifully for Kansas City, and they look like they absolutely should be the favorite right now for going for that three-peat.
Yeah, I think so too. Now we'll quickly talk about their game this week against the Raiders, and I think it's going to be a blowout. I think they cruise in this game. I think they run the football well. I think Mahomes plays well. I think this is the one game they cruise in. And the Raiders are just absolutely terrible. I know it's a division game, but I think the Chiefs win this. I got them winning it big. I got them 27-9. Justin, I assume you got the same.
Yeah. I got Chiefs here 20-7. If you remember, the Raiders were talking a lot of smack about that Christmas game day last year, over the summer, and then
I hope they're still enjoying their Super Bowl.
Yeah, that smoking the cigars, that the Ravens win this year, the Chiefs win, and they had a Kermit the Frog, doll dressed up as like Patrick Mahomes too this summer that they brought. That's not the team I would want to fuel some fire with, but I would assume Mahomes is going to be pretty annoyed going into that game, and and I expect the Chiefs here to cruise and win this game 27. I think Raiders defense may keep it close early, but just that offense ain't going to get much going.
Yeah, we don't need to spend much time talking about the Raiders. We got a lot to cover on the show today. The Raiders is not something we want to talk. We want to talk much about. And the Chiefs right now, I think this move is a really good move in terms of them three-peating as Super Bowl champions. But we will move on to the biggest game in Week 8, and that is between the Cowboys and the Niners. Cowboys 3-3, Niners 3-4. Niners coming to this game. If the Cowboys even coming to this game banged up, they're probably not going to have Micah Parsons in this game. You look at the Niners. Debo Samuel probably won't play. Ayuk is out for the year. Kittle might not play. McCaffrey's not going to play. So a lot of injuries for the Niners. A lot of guys banged up in this game for both teams. That's why I do think it's going to be close. But I think the difference in this game is even though Jordan Mason is the running back, and he's ran the ball pretty well this year, I think the Niners are going to run the ball better than the Cowboys. And I think that I know Brock Purdy had a bad game last week, but I do think Dak makes more mistakes than Brock Purdy because Dak has trouble against the 49ers, and the Niners always play well against this Cowboys team. But I do think this one's close and competitive because of the Niners' injuries. But I think the Niners win a close one here because they own the Dallas Cowboys. They've beaten Dallas the last 3 times, 2 of them in the playoffs, and last year they smoked them on Sunday Night Football. I don't think it'll be a blowout like last year because of the Niners' injuries, but I do think the Niners still win this game. I got the Niners here. I got the Niners winning it 26-20 over the Cowboys. But Justin, can the Cowboys snap their 3-game losing streak against the Niners?
I don't think they will either. I know the Niners are so banged up, as you mentioned. I know Dallas is pretty banged up, but coming off the bye here, I just think San Francisco is going to be able to run the football in this game. And I do think, Brock Purdy plays better than he did last week. And I do think, at home, San Francisco's defense does play pretty well because Dallas is one-dimensional. You don't really have to worry about the running game right now. They've been really struggling in that area this year. So I do think the Niners figure it out and do win this game by 10 points.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad that you're picking the Cowboys to lose by 10 to a banged-up Niners team. It shows you why the Cowboys are not very good this year. Outside of them playing the Giants, they're not a very good team. They're not a very good team at all. If they don't play the Giants, the Cowboys are not a very good team. It's as simple as that. And this is a pretty easy question. Even though the Niners are struggling, this is a pretty easy question. We know the Niners are 3-4, struggling, banged up. The Cowboys 3-3, terrible at home, got blown out in 2 of the games, and we're getting blown out in one of them, but came back, but still lost that game to the Ravens. But the question is which one of these teams is more likely to miss the playoffs? And I think even with all the Niners injuries, I think this is an obvious question. I think it's definitely the Cowboys. They can't run the football. And you heard Jerry Jones yesterday. Are you kidding me? Derrick Henry doesn't fit your scheme? You adjust your scheme for Derrick Henry. This is exactly why Dak Prescott will never win a Super Bowl as long as he's with the Dallas Cowboys. And most likely he's never going to play in an NFC Championship game. As long as Jerry Jones is the GM of this team, that stuff is going to happen. Because here's the problem with the Dallas Cowboys. I'll give it to them. They draft very well in the first round. The problem is they cannot manage the cap. And that was another excuse for Jerry Jones, the salary cap. You manage the cap. You find a way to get Derrick Henry on your team. He talks about, of course, he makes an excuse about the salary cap. So the issue why Dak will never win a championship, will never win a championship in Dallas is the Cowboys do not know how to negotiate contracts. I mean, they thought free agency started on September 1st, not March 13th. And they don't like they like to stick with their own guys. They like to stick with their own guys. And in this league, you got to explore every avenue: free agency, trades, and the draft. And the problem is the Cowboys do well in the draft, but the other stuff they're terrible at. The one time they've succeeded the last decade when they've went away from that, they won like 7 of their last 8 games and won the division and got to and that's when they got Amari Cooper. So the Cowboys just don't get the fact that you have to explore every avenue to be a championship team in this league. Jerry Jones is not. He knows how to build division winners and a team that might win one playoff game, but he cannot build a championship team. That's why Dak will never win a Super Bowl as long as Jerry Jones is the general manager. So I think it's definitely the Cowboys because I know the Niners are 3-4, but they're going to get guys back, and I know there's a good chance they won't get back to the Super Bowl, but I'm much more confident that they'll make the playoffs than the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm with you there as well because because the way the Commanders are playing, I know Jane Daniels banged up. Maybe he won't go Sunday, but that's still, I still think that team's in one division where you look at the NFC West. I know the Rams right now, they're banged up. They might trade Kupp, but and then Seattle, I just don't trust Seattle. They're too inconsistent for me. I don't trust them. The Niners are probably only going to need 8-9 wins to win this division. And I still think they're good enough, even put themselves in a hole, though, by losing the Rams and Cardinals, though. So they're already 0-2 against the division, which does not help things.
One and two, they beat the Seahawks.
Oh, yeah, they did beat the Seahawks. I forgot that one. So they are 1-2, but yeah, I still think the Niners get in. I think they only need 8 or 9 wins to win that division this year.
And you made a good point with the division. Yeah, the NFC East is a little bit better than the NFC West. I mean, the NFC North by far the best division in the NFC by a long shot. They might get 4 playoff teams. But the NFC East is a little bit better than the NFC West. Yeah, the Commanders are playing well. The Eagles, they're playing well. Yeah, so I think it's a little bit tougher to win the NFC East than the NFC West. It's a good point with the division. Yeah, Seahawks too inconsistent. The Rams, they're a average to below average team, and the Cardinals, yes, they got a good quarterback, and they might arguably have the best quarterback in the division, but they have the worst roster in that division. So yeah, I still think the Niners with Shanahan, with Purdy, and with the talent on that team make the playoffs. The Cowboys, I don't think so. Can't run the ball, can't stop the run, and they have a general manager that should not be a GM anymore.
Yeah, that's been the problem with Dallas for the last 3 decades, and things aren't changing anytime soon. And I don't know if you saw the thing that came out today, like some of the Cowboy players about like the tours going around in the practice facilities, like it feels like they're in a zoo, tour that they give
them
around.
Out of there. Get the fans out of there while the team's trying to practice.
Yeah, that's another thing that I saw pop up this morning. So Dallas is just a mess, and things aren't changing anytime soon. It feels like with Jerry. So he's just gonna keep.
They're definitely not.
That's part of me feels bad for Cowboy fans but I think most of them understand that it's probably not. You're probably not getting back there, until Jerry changes mindset. But I don't know if that's happening.
I don't think that's happening. I think the guy you feel bad for with the Cowboys is Dak Prescott. I think he's a good leader. Even during his contract negotiation, he was still practicing all the time. Good leader. I think he's a winner. I just think he's in the wrong organization. I think Dak is in the wrong organization. Like, say you put Dak on this Niners team last year, I think they win the Super Bowl. I think he drives them down the field. I think he converts on that 3rd and 5 that Purdy didn't convert on. And I think you win a championship with him. I think Dak is good enough to win a championship. The problem is he's in an organization that cares more about attention and making money than winning championships, which is sad and is why I think Dak will never win a Super Bowl in his career.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And, you go back to college, like first college football playoff play ever came out. Mississippi State was the number 1 overall team. That was led by Dak Prescott. And that's Mississippi State's arguably second hardest job in that conference. So, and that roster was good, but it wasn't great. He really elevated that team. So, I think Dak's a good quarterback, but he's kind of getting stuck at Dallas here. Doesn't totally help him out, to try to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Dallas does not help Dak in terms of trying to win a championship. Now we got a match. We wish we had a matchup of the number 1 overall, number 2 overall pick, but it doesn't look like I don't think we're going to get that matchup. Jane Daniels right now, week to week with it. We do have a comment. We got Hector. NFC stands for not feeling confident. It is tough to pick on a team outside of the Lions go to the Super Bowl. You are 100% right, but Hector's 100% right about that. It is tough to pick a team outside of the Lions to go to the Super Bowl. But hey, we're going to talk about two surprise teams in the NFC right here. Now, I wish the two quarterbacks would go up against each other. Because they flex this game because of that, but it doesn't look like we're going to get that. It looks like it's going to be Mariota against Caleb Williams. But I do think it's going to be a good game. Cliff Kingsbury's done a great job as the offensive coordinator. He's got to be the assistant coach of the year. He's done a great job as the offensive coordinator of the Commanders. Average to below average head coach, but a great OC, and he's really proven that this year with the Commanders. That's why I think the game stays competitive. But in the end, I think the Bears pass rush forces Mariota to make a mistake, and I think Caleb Williams continues to play well. That's why I got the Bears going to 5-2. I got the Bears winning this one 27-20. But Justin, can the Commanders continue to? Can the Commanders stay undefeated at home and stay on top in the NFC East?
I do. I like the Commanders, and I think Marcus Mariota fits really well with Cliff Kingsbury offense. I know they played the Panthers, but he looked awesome when he came in, and I still don't think the Bears are any good. They beat the Titans, who have 1 win. They beat the Rams, who have 2 wins. And then their other ones are the Panthers and Jaguars. They haven't played anybody yet. I know they're 4-2. Good for them. You got to beat They being up on the teams that they should. I still just don't think this is a very good team. And I've seen more of the Commanders, and I think Mariota is going to play pretty well in this game. So it's more of I still just don't believe in Chicago. And I think when they start to play the division games, I think it's going to be somewhat of a rude awakening because I don't know how they're going to be able to – they're off the line. I don't know how they're going to be able to hold up against the other 3 teams out of the division. So I like the Commanders here at home, still with Mariota to get the win.
Yeah, the Bears, they definitely have a rude awakening coming. They have a lot of tough games coming for them, especially in that division, which is clearly the best division in football. But they're playing well now, but we'll see how the season finishes for them. But we got a big matchup in Cincinnati as the 4-2 Eagles, who looked impressive last week at the Giants, take on the 3-4 Bengals, who've won 2 in a row, despite Joe Burrow not playing that well. Despite their offense not playing that well, they have won 2 in a row. Their defense has picked it up. They played better. I think this game is close and competitive, but I think the issue is going to be I think Saquon's going to have another big game. I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a good game. And I think Joe Burrow is going to do a good job moving the football, but I think they're going to settle for field goals. I think they're going to settle for field goals in the red zone. I think the Eagles are going to control the game on the ground. I think it's close and competitive, but I'm going with the Eagles here to go to 5-2. I got the Eagles going to 5-2, beating the Bengals 27-23. But Justin, can Burrow lead the Bengals to their third straight win?
I think so. I got the Bengals here 21-16. They're at home this week. I know the Eagles' offense has looked better last couple weeks. I know Saquon had a big game last week against the Giants. I think the Eagles settle for a couple field goals. I think Jalen Hurts makes a mistake or two, and I think Joe Burrow, goes down the field and makes them pay for it. And I know the Bengals defense has been playing better the last 2 weeks. I know they had that team meeting there before the Giant game, but they really haven't played a great offense. So I think, we'll see a little bit more how much better this defense has gotten. But I do think at home, I will take the Bengals to knock off Philly.
We got another NFC North, NFC East matchup, and that's on Monday Night Football when the Giants take on the Steelers. And the Giants' offense was absolutely pathetic last Sunday against the Eagles. Their defense did what it could do early in the game, but the fourth down play, you really can't give that up. Can't give up that 4th and 3, that touchdown to A.J. Brown. And the obvious thing was they couldn't stop Saquon Barkley either, a player that Joe Shane the GM referred to as a $12 million back when he was talking to his scouts about signing him or re-signing him. And listen, I didn't mind the fact the Giants didn't re-sign him because I think they had to improve the offensive line. I wanted them to improve the O-line and improve the D-line. But looking at that O-line Sunday, it's hard for me to say that it's not a mistake now. I'm trying to trust Joe Shane, but it's hard for me to say that was not a mistake with them not re-signing Saquon, because Saquon was dominant against the Giants last Sunday. But this game for the Giants is a terrible matchup for them. What they need to do without Andrew Thomas is run the football. The Steelers do a really good job of stopping the run. They can get pressure. We obviously know they can get pressure with Cam Hayward and TJ Watt. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to get pressure. They're going to force a turnover or two from Daniel Jones. They're going to sack him. I think they get at least 3 or 4 sacks. I think they control the game on the ground with Najee Harris. The Giants defense, I think, keeps them in it early, but I think it wears down late in the game. Russell Wilson has another good game. That's why I'm going Steelers here. I got the Steelers beating the Giants 24-10. But Justin, can the Giants pull off a third upset win on the road this year?
Yeah, they've played better on the road this year, but I don't think they're going to get it here against the Pittsburgh team at home. I get the Steelers as well, 23-13. I just think, as you mentioned, that offensive line without Andrew Thomas, I think that Steelers pass rush is going to be a nightmare for the Giants to try to slow down. And Daniel Jones got to get rid of the football quickly in this one. And, I know about Dable and, about everything with Hard Knocks, but man, how many more QB draws are you going to run with Daniel Jones? Like it seems like he's trying to get him killed out there.
Yeah.
And
also, here's the other thing with Daboll I'll be critical of. Can we not, without Andrew Thomas, can we not be throwing the ball all over the field? Can we run the football? Yeah. And also, what the hell is Josh Azudu doing starting at left tackle? Andrew Neal, you drafted 7th overall 2 years ago. He's on the bench for Josh Azudu? That makes no sense. That's where, listen, as a Giants fan, you start to question Daboll and Shane, as well as Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I was going to actually bring that up next. I'm glad you brought that up because, Mara said too, in that after the Barkley stuff was like, if he comes back and kills us, I'm going to, have trouble sleeping at night. And,
Mara
probably has the last couple of nights.
Yeah, Mara did not get a lot of sleep Sunday night. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I would assume after Sunday, the hot seat for Shane had to start to warm up a little bit more for him because, that was bad, and Barkley ran all over him. And, the way things are going with Shane and, like the Andrew Thomas draft pick looks great. Evan Neal, that's looked like a bust so far.
Yeah,
so.
but Andrew Thomas wasn't even their pick. Dexter Lawrence wasn't even their pick. That was Dave Gettleman.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. So that's it's even worse for them. So it's not a great look. With Neal already on the bench. So things are looking great. And if this offense continues and without Andrew Thomas the rest of the year, this offense have a hard time scoring points. So it's potentially could get worse now than before it gets better. And Shane definitely got that seat got a lot warmer from Sunday.
It did. But talking about warm seats and talking about guys whose jobs are on the line, I think I think the question is going into this week. We And we talked about this in week 2 after his disastrous performance in week 1, but he was terrible. He's been terrible the last 2 weeks, and that's Daniel Jones. And the big question is Daniel Jones playing for his job this week? And I'm going to say yes. He got benched last week, and I thought when he got benched, I thought, all right, it's a blowout. Maybe they just don't want to get him hurt. But then in the press conference, Daboll says we needed a spark. That's a telling sign. That's telling right there. That's telling right there. That's telling me that Daniel Jones' days as Giants quarterback are numbered. And I'm going to say yes. If he has a bad game this week, if he has a bad game and they lose, I'm going to say yes. I think it's over. I think it's over. I think they bench him. I think if he has a bad game and they lose this week, I think he's benched and they go to Drew Lock. They might, and listen, they might not be better with Drew Lock, but I think they're getting sick of Daniel Jones. And we saw it in the offseason 4 times in 2 different Hard Knocks shows. We saw it 3 times in the Giants Hard Knock. I mean, at the Combine, Joe Shane went up to talk to Elliott Wolf about trading up for Drake May. Then he called him on draft night to trade up for Drake May. So Joe Shane tried to do it twice. Brian Daboll in a meeting about Jaden Daniels said, "Yeah, I'll trade up for Jaden Daniels." And then, Joe Shane goes up to Ryan Pace at the Georgia Clemson game and says, "Good thing. It's nice not to have to look at quarterbacks this year." So 4 instances of them not being loyal to Daniel Jones and not believing in Daniel Jones. It was obvious that they were not 100% committed to Daniel Jones going into this season. Yes, he has played well at times this year. Really, outside of the first game, he had a stretch of 4 straight games where he played pretty well. But the last 2 weeks, he's been terrible. And looking at the way this regime thinks of him, I think this is it. If he plays badly this week, I think he's done. Justin, do you agree with me?
Yeah, I do. I just worry because, again, going back to this offensive line, Daniel Jones can move around and he can get out of the pocket. Drew Lock and DeVito they're not as fast as Daniel Jones is. So, they're more pocket passers, and that's going to help with his offensive line. And I know you have Malik Neighbors. I get it. I know they're tired of him, but I don't think Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito are your answers. And the way the QB class is looking right now, like I said, at Shador, I don't really love. I don't.
I know that game Saturday night didn't give you a lot of confidence. That game Saturday night didn't give you a lot of confidence.
No, it did not. Beck and Ewers probably both lost a lot of draft value on Saturday night. So, that's the thing. So, I know they're probably done with Daniel Jones, but it's the way this QB draft class, I know it was kind of, people very high on it coming in, but the way they're playing right now, most of those guys, looks a lot shakier now. So I get it. But yeah, you're not going to get much better with Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito. I don't know how much more of a spread you can get.
And you're right. It's not all Daniel Jones' fault at all. It is not all Daniel Jones' fault. Running game's been inconsistent. Offensive line, you saw it without Andrew Thomas last week. It struggled. But the Bucs got to stop somewhere. And Daniel Jones, he's playing the most important position on the field. And let's be honest, he just hasn't really been able to elevate. This is year 6, and he just hasn't been able to elevate talent around him. Now, when he has things working for him, he's decent. He's pretty good. We saw that. We saw it in 2022 when Saquon had the big year, when the offensive line was decent. We saw it in 2022 and when the offensive line was decent. So we saw it in 2022. He played pretty well, but he just can't elevate. He's not a terrible player. I think he's an average, maybe above average quarterback at best. But at this point, 6 years in, and you're putting up, you have not scored a touchdown at home in a year and a half, and you're so bad in prime time. I think a change has to be made. That's why I'm saying he is playing for his job.
Yeah, that's the not scoring the touchdown at home, because I don't remember, there was a couple hockey games this year at MetLife or back in February, and there was all the goal scorers were I forgot who had the stat or whatever, but yeah, the 15 goal scorers, they scored more recently. Daniel Jones has at MetLife, so yeah, it's that part's not great that they've not been able to score, especially at home, and that's been a huge worry. So yeah, I get changing up the quarterbacks. It's not going to make a big difference, I don't think, in my mind, but I guess you got to try something. Maybe you find something, and maybe I don't know, maybe Tommy DeVito does what he does last year and becomes a folk hero again. I don't, maybe that's possible.
We'll see what happens. But the Giants are in a very, very tough spot on Monday night. Going from one disaster, local team who's a disaster, to another local team that's a disaster, and that's the Patriots. And the Jets are too. All these teams are disasters, Jets, Giants, and Patriots. But for this game, it's going to be tough to predict. It's tough to predict because the Jets looked terrible after they took that 15-6 lead on Sunday Night Football. But the Patriots in London were terrible. And the stunning part of the Patriots is you thought if they were going to be really bad this year, it was going to be their offense again. Drake May was going to struggle, but their defense was going to keep them in games. The last couple of weeks has been the opposite. Their defense, especially against the run, which is why I'm starting to question Gerard Mayo. This run defense was pathetic. And then he called out his team. He called out his team saying they're soft. It's going to be interesting to see how they respond because if Breece Hall runs all over them this week, I'm starting to question if this is going to be a one and done for Gerard Mayo. If they get blown out and get ran all over on defense, I'm going to start to question, is this a one and done for Gerard Mayo? So, but for this game, I do think Breece Hall is a pretty good game. I do think Drake May keeps him in it, but I think he turns the ball over late in the game. I do think Aaron Rodgers plays because the only team he's seems to play well against this year is the Patriots. So I think he plays well against the Patriots again. And I got the Jets winning this one 28-17. But Justin, can Drake May win his first NFL start?
I don't think so. I don't think his defense will help him out again. I have to Jets 24-16, and I'm glad you mentioned Mayo because did you hear what Belichick's comments were on Monday on the McAfee show about that?
I know.
About the
they're not soft. They're not soft. Now, I don't like the fact that Belichick is like conveniently trashing the Patriots when they play badly, and you're fine with it. But for me, I don't like how he conveniently trashes the Patriots when they're not doing well. But then he refused to acknowledge any success when they beat Cincinnati. So I don't love that part of Belichick, but. Yeah, you know, there's a rift between him and Mayo when he says that they're not soft. When Mayo called them out for being soft.
Yeah, well, I took that Belichick as he's standing up for all of his former guys that are in that locker room because he knows what they have in them. So that's on Mayo. Again, you mentioned we could be one and done. After you're calling your team soft, might quit on you pretty quickly. And there's already been defensive players. Yeah, there's been defensive players already saying that guys are playing individually. They're not playing as a team, so things aren't great in that locker room right now. So,
and that's the thing. I mean, if they have a bad performance this week, you could see there's going to be rumors about his job. I think.
I would hope. My one worry is Kraft's ego. The talk a couple weeks ago saying I picked this guy out 5 years ago on a trip to Israel that I want him to be my next coach. Then you fire him after 1 year. It's not a great look, and. That's where Kraft's ego. We're gonna find out. Because I don't trust this regime. I don't trust this coaching staff to spend $133 million right now. I don't, because you can't even give them credit for May because May fell in their lap. It's not like they did. They fell in their lap. Exactly, I don't give them credit for that. So the defense is pathetic. It's getting worse. The punt in the middle of the field and giving up a 96-yard return is ridiculous. You played a team that literally quit on their coach a week ago, and then you just gave up over 30 points to a mediocre team.
Exactly.
It's
worse than mediocre, below average.
Yeah, below average. Yeah, it's a below. Yeah, it's a bad football team, and they could be like that. You played 15 great minutes, and I was really encouraged the first quarter, and then the thing just stopped. Van Pelt had a great first drive, and then he scripted that thing beautifully. The last 9 drives, 7 of the 9. First plays were all runs for a total of 9 yards. Can we be more creative? Can we, Drees may look good in the pocket, I know. He's been great in the pocket. So Brissett got killed in this game the first time. He got hit multiple times. I think he's been really good in the pocket. His presence in there is unbelievable. I'd like Van Pelt to be our QB coach moving forward because I do think he's done a really good job with May. I don't want him being our play caller. We do have Ben McAdoo too. I don't even know. I think he's like an analyst.
I know. But the thing is he's going to still be the off. He's not going to not be the OC. He's still going to be the OC. Yeah. So I think he's still going to call plays. But you are you're right about questioning this coaching staff. I mean, Mayo. This coaching staff is highly questionable. The GM, yes, he didn't do a good job this year, but we'll see what he does next year. We'll see what Wolf does next year in free agency. But you got every right to get on Mayo right now. I mean, that was a garbage performance defensively. And he played middle linebacker, and a team without their starting running back ran all over you last Sunday. Yeah.
He's got to be embarrassed. And what I want to say about Mayo too is, again, going back to Belichick. After every loss, it was. The coaches, we did not execute, we did not, it was not, our game plan was not good enough. We did not prepare the players well enough. It was everybody's fault. And, it wasn't Mayo's pointing the finger. It's somebody new every week he's pointing fingers at. And that does not go over well. And you win as a team, you lose as a team. And again, it's not a good look. It's just not. And yeah, you mentioned it. He's a middle linebacker. And again, this team can't stop the run with all those Belichick players that are still there that were awesome at it last year. They're the best in the league last year. This year, they can't stop anybody. So yeah, it's not looking great for Mayo. And again, I want a veteran coach in here to fix this mess because again, he is over his head. And it's not totally his fault. His job was handed to him. Like, you're not going to turn it down. Like, I don't think he's ready. I don't think he should have got the job. And this was a tough job. Again, same thing with Dave Canales, Carolina. This is an impossible first job to have for a head coach. Like the situations, the rosters with the shape they were in. And so, again, I'm hoping too, maybe at the end of the year he goes, crap, I'm way over my head here. I think it's better off that I resign. I'm hoping maybe there's a little bit that in him too, because yeah, it's not going well. And I've never seen him talk to any of his assistant coaches on the sideline. I haven't seen it. So like I don't know if there's a disconnect there. I don't know.
Yeah, and you're right. He's not going to resign. He'll get fired if they have to fire him. They'll fire him. But yeah, I mean he's in over his head. You're right about that. And yeah, the roster and Bill gave him no favors with the roster. He gave him no favor. Now I think there's more. I think this defense should be playing better than they are. But Bill gave him no favors with the roster. I mean Bill the coach should not have lost his job. Bill the GM absolutely should have lost his job, and he rightfully so, and the Patriots rightfully so fired him as the general manager. The problem is he was the head coach as well, and he's one of the greatest defensive minds, and he's the greatest defensive mind and greatest head coach of all time. So yeah, Mayo right now in over his head, even though Belichick didn't do him any favors with the roster. Yeah, he's just. It seems like right now he's completely in over his head. We'll see how they respond this week, though. We'll see how they respond against the Jets this week. But right now, it feels like he's really, really in over his head and is not ready to be a head coach in the NFL. But we'll see. We'll see what happens this week. We'll see how this team responds at home against the Jets. But we got to run through the slate. We got to run through the slate of games, and we'll go to tomorrow night's game with the Vikings and the Rams. And I think this game is close for a little while. I think Stafford keeps him in it, but eventually, the more talented team is going to win this game. I think Aaron Jones has a good game on the ground. I think Sam Darnold plays well again. And he'll throw a pick. He'll probably throw a pick, but I don't think it'll hurt them in this one. I got the Vikings here. I got the Vikings going to 6-1, bouncing back this week. I got the Vikings over the Rams 31-20. But Justin can Stafford help the Rams pull off a big upset?
I do. I got the Rams here 24-21. I think because I know originally I sent you the Vikings. I thought about it more. I just think coming off the Lions are such a physical football team. It's a short week. You got to travel out there, and teams that have played the Lions this year, the week after they're 0-4. Like I just think because how physical of a game you play against them, the way they lost too. I know they're the Rams might get a little bit healthier, and I know their season's kind of on the line here. I do think they play well enough, and I do think the Rams pull this one out. It's in a close, tough battle. I do think Matthew Stafford makes a couple plays late and then leads the Rams to a victory here.
Got a big matchup in the NFC South. Both teams trying to bounce back from losses. The Falcons had a terrible loss against the Seahawks last week. Cousins not play well at all. And the Bucs, they lost to the Ravens on Monday Night Football, but they definitely more than lost the game. They lost their two receivers until pretty much until Thanksgiving. And looking at this schedule, this is brutal for them with the Falcons, with the Chiefs, and the 49ers. So the Bucs picked the wrong time to have both their receivers out. And I think it's going to be a rough day for Baker Mayfield. I think he's going to throw a pick or two. I think Bijan's going to have a pretty good game on the ground. I think Cousins is going to make less mistakes than Baker. And that's why I got the Falcons beating the Bucs for the second time this year and taking control of the NFC South. They got the Falcons winning this game 24-16. But Justin, can the Bucs get revenge from what happened in Week 5?
I don't either. I got the Falcons here 20-23. Yeah, I just think about Evans and Godwin. I just think it's to be a tall task for this one. Again, Atlanta can't get a pass rush on anybody. Geno Smith, was enjoying a nice steak dinner back there because he had all the time in the world last week to carve up that defense. So if Baker, can hold on to the football and not make a ton of mistakes, I think Tampa could potentially win this football game. But I just think Atlanta, they a little bit more talent. Tampa's defense, I think, could struggle in this one. I do have the Falcons and Bulls too. I know they're down. Remember last year in the playoffs, they were down 8 with like 30 seconds left. He didn't call any timeouts because he was like, yeah, the game's kind of over. now, and then the way that game ended, you're down 10 and you're, calling timeouts there, trying to get like a garbage touchdown. Like,
Yeah, and then
not
Godwin gets
great there.
hurt. Then Godwin
Yeah.
gets hurt
Like,
too. Yeah, so yeah,
you lose.
and you want to preserve him. You want to preserve him.
Yeah.
Right? But Bulls defended himself after the game. But you want to, and I get the fact they're playing hard until the end. But yeah, that's a tough injury in that spot because now you don't have him for for a huge game against Atlanta. You're not going to have him for Kansas City or San Francisco.
Yeah. Evan's gonna be out for a couple weeks, and Godwin's gonna be out for the year. And Godwin's he's been one of the better wide receivers too. So yeah, it's a huge loss. And yeah, you mentioned it. The schedule's about to get tougher too. So yeah, it's gonna be uphill climb now, and it feels like it's Atlanta's division now to kind of win here to not be not give up. But there's a team out there that could do it. Atlanta could blow it.
Exactly. We'll see what happens. Should be interesting to see what happens on Sunday between those two teams. But we got a big matchup in the AFC South between the Colts and the Texans. Crazy to think the Colts are 4-3. Flacco won them that game against the Titans, and last week they won an ugly game against the Dolphins. Texans 5-2, lost to two NFC North teams on the road, the Vikings and the Packers. And I think in this game, I think the Texans win. I think they win it by a couple scores. I think they'll run the ball with Joe Mixon. I think their passing game will be a lot better than it was the week before against the Packers. And I think Anthony Richardson's going to turn the ball over a couple times. The funny thing is the Colts got to play Richardson because they took him with the number 3 overall pick. But I'd argue Flacco's the better player right now. But I do think, if Jonathan Taylor plays, he'll be able to run the ball. Really be able to run the ball against the Texans defense like he did the first time. The big thing is they need Jonathan Taylor in this game. They're not winning this game without Jonathan Taylor. They need him in this game to set up play action for Anthony Richardson so he could hit those deep shots. I think the Texans win it. I think they take control of this division. I got Houston winning this 30-17. But Justin, can the Colts get revenge from week 1 and tie and get into a first place tie in the AFC South?
No, I'm with you here. I got the Texans 27-17. I think Houston should just run all over this Colts defense, and Houston's offense looks shaky again. I'm gonna get concerned about this offense. They can't move the ball against this Colts defense. Because I know you're missing Nico Collins. I know he's the leading receiver in the league when he got hurt, but one wide receiver out should not make this big of a difference for an offense. So I expect Stroud to play well in this one, and I do expect them to win this game by double digits just because the Colts defense is so bad.
All right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Colts defense is terrible.
Yeah, they really show up, especially stopping the run. So yeah, I'm with you. I think Joe Mixon should have a huge afternoon.
Absolutely. So we got a interconference matchup in Miami between the Dolphins and the Cardinals, and I think this is a close competitive game. But with Tua back, I'm going to go with the Dolphins here. I think it's back and forth, but I think the Dolphins make the big play at the end. I think Tua leads the big drive at the end of the game to get the Dolphins in the win column. I'm going to go Miami here. I'm going to go Miami 28-24. But Justin, can Kyler Murray lead the Cardinals to an upset win and get them to 4-4?
I don't think so. I got the Dolphins here as well, 23-21. I think for the Dolphins this week, Mike McDaniel's got to try to find some way to scheme it up to get, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle the football. I do worry about that offensive line just because they can't protect anything. I do worry about Tua's health there. Like, he's got to get rid of the football quickly, I think, in this one. And, McDaniel schemes something up. I'm not confident because we've seen this year, he's very overrated head coach. But I do think because you're playing an Arizona team that's not great. They got 2 calls that kind of got their way in the fourth quarter last week to get that win, and the Chargers kicked 5 field goals in that game too. So Arizona got lucky to get away with that game the other night.
Yeah, a little bit lucky, but Kyler Murray got it done at the end. Give him credit for that.
Yeah.
But the big question is, with Tua being back, are the Dolphins a playoff team? And I looked at the schedule. I think they're going to come close to being one. But I'm still going to say they're going to miss because obviously you got the big 4 you got making the playoffs. You got the Ravens, you got the Chiefs, you got the Texans and the Bills. And then as the wild cards, I'm going to say the Steelers. I'm going to say the Chargers, even though they're 3-3. And I'm still going to say the Bengals because of Joe Burrow. So I think the Dolphins go like 8-9 or 9-8, but just miss the playoffs. And the thing is, too, who knows if Tua is going to stay healthy for the entire season. So I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got no. As well, this second half gets a bit tougher. The Bills on the road, Green Bay on the road. They got to go to the Rams. Who knows what they'll be. Houston on the road, and I know even Cleveland now with Deshaun, that offense is going to be better. And again, that's going to be cold. Who knows? Maybe there's some snow. Miami never wins those games. So even a game like Cleveland, I don't think is a gimme. So yeah, also the uncertainty if Tua can stay on the field the rest of the year as well. So yeah, I do think I'm with you. This Dolphin team's gonna miss out.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the Dolphins miss out. Now, interconference matchup in Jacksonville between the Packers and Jags. And I think this is a fun, high-scoring game between the two teams. I think Jacksonville runs the ball well. I think Jordan Love is another big day. But I'm going to go with the better roster and the better quarterback here. I'm going Packers 34-27. But Justin, can the Jags have another big week and win their second in a row?
No, I don't think so. I think Green Bay is going to tear up this Jacksonville defense. I got them 31-21. Jordan Love is gonna have a huge game, and I think back-to-back weeks coming back here for Jacksonville, I think they're going to struggle. Trevor Lawrence will put up some yards in this one, but I just don't think his defense is going to do enough to help him out in this one. And I do have the Packers win this thing by 2 possessions.
We got another interconference matchup, another AFC South, NFC North matchup in Detroit as the Titans take on the Lions. And I think the Titans might move the ball a little bit, score some points, but the Lions offense is kind of a big day. I think they get in the 30s again. I got the Lions here, 31-17. Justin, I assume you got the same.
Yeah, I got Lions here 24-10. I do think Tennessee's defense will keep them in it early in this one, but I do think this is a game where Detroit can kind of just run the ball 35, 40 times. Really don't have to rely on Goff to do too much in this one and just get out here with the victory. And, Mason Rudolph, I think, if he does start again, probably going to have a rough one to try to get anything going on there on Sunday.
NFC North matchup in Cleveland as the Ravens take on the Browns. And I know Jameis Winston is starting. And then this might end up being a good thing for the Browns because they might be better with him and Nick Chubb. But I think the Ravens are just playing too well. I think it will be close for a little while, but I think eventually this Ravens team will get in the 30s. The Browns, their offense is terrible. I think it'll continue to struggle this week. That's why I got the Ravens here winning 31-9. The only reason I'm asking the question about this game is it's a division game. But Justin, can Jameis Winston lead the Browns to a big upset win over the Ravens?
I don't think so. I got Baltimore 20-20. I do think they could score some points. So after UCLA put up 35 points on Saturday against Rutgers, the Cleveland Browns are the only team in the NFL or at the FBS level in college football to not have 20 points in a game this season so far. So it's kind of showing you how pathetic their defense or their offense has been. And their offense, I know Winston's going to help out that offense, but that offensive line is still so bad, and they got rid of Cooper. So I do think they'll put up some yardage. Baltimore secondary is not great, but it won't be enough to keep up with Baltimore.
So now going from Amari Cooper's former team to his current team, the Buffalo Bills, and he had a touchdown last week and they went over the Titans. The Bills head to Seattle to host the Seahawks. And I think this is a close competitive game, but I think the team that runs the ball better is going to win. I think it's going to be the Bills. I think the quarterback who plays a little bit better is going to win. It's going to be Josh Allen. I think it's close and competitive. I know Seattle's a tough place to play, but as you said earlier in the show, they've been inconsistent all year, and I don't think they pull this one out. I got the Bills 31-24 over the Seahawks. But Justin, can the Seahawks get a big win at home and stay on top in the NFC West?
No, I got the Bills here as well with you, 27-21. I think Josh Allen's going to be able to have a big day against the Seattle defense in this one. I do think Geno will put up some yardage here at home, but I think the Bills are going to have success on the ground as well in this one, and Geno will probably put up some yardage. They haven't been able to run the ball great lately, but I do think they'll put up points, but just not enough to keep up with Josh Allen that offense.
Alrighty, interconference matchup in Denver as the Panthers take on the Broncos. And the Broncos, another game Bo Nix can just manage and win. I think the Denver's defense is going to force whoever plays. Unfortunately, Andy Dalton got in a car accident yesterday, so we don't know his status for the game. But whoever plays quarterback for the Panthers is going to have a problem with the Broncos defense. I think the Broncos are able to run the ball. I think Bo Nix is able to manage the game, and the Broncos go to 5-3 here. Again, they got 10 days off too. I got the Broncos here 23-10 over the Panthers. But Justin, I assume you got the same.
Yeah, I'm with you here. 27-13. Yeah, Dalton, sounds like everybody walked away okay, from that. Sounded like so, that's a good thing for us. And yeah, paying with a couple extra days to kind of prepare for, this Carolina defense right now. That's brutal. And I know I thought last week the Patriots in a worse situation than the Panthers. It is. I changed my mind. It's clearly Carolina after what I saw last Sunday. So yeah, I think Denver gets all, does whatever they want in this one. And Bo Nix, plays pretty well. And again, this one doesn't have to do much.
All right, we'll wrap up talking about the Saints and the Chargers. It looks like Derek Carr's probably not going to be back this week. I know the Saints just paid Alvin Kamara, but I think in this game, I think the Chargers, this is a bounce back game for the Chargers. I think they win this one by 2 scores. I think they're able to run the ball. I think Herbert plays well. I got the Chargers here by 2 scores, going to 4-3. I got the Chargers winning this game 24-13. But Justin, can the Saints snap their 5-game losing streak?
No, I'm with you. Chargers 23-10. The Saints are so banged up. I think Rattler's going to struggle again this week, and I do think Herbert plays pretty well, and I do think the Chargers convert this week and score a couple touchdowns instead of settling for 5 field goals. So I do have the Chargers well getting this one at home.
Yes, should be an interesting week in the NFL. But the NBA season started, and the defending champs when they raised their 18th banner had a huge night. But before we talk about that, we are going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEG's Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut. There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
All righty, so the NBA season kicked off last night with the Celtics. They raised banner 18, and they were dominant. Jason Tatum, 37-10, hit 29 threes. And the Knicks, Jalen Brunson had a good game. Deuce McBride had a good game, but really outside of that, everyone else struggled. Really tough night for the Knicks. But the big question for the Knicks is we all know the Celtics are the best team in the East. We all know the Celtics are clearly the best team in the East. The big question, though, is who is the biggest threat to the Celtics in the Eastern Conference? Is it the Knicks with going out and training for Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges? Is it the Bucks with Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo? Or is it it could be the Philadelphia 76ers, but it doesn't look like that way with all the guys they have out right now. Or could it be the Indiana Pacers getting to the conference finals last year and having a really good player in Tyrese Halliburton? I'm going to say the big question is, are the Knicks still the biggest? Are the Knicks the biggest threat to the Celtics? I'm going to say yes. I think once this thing gels, they're going to be a 50 to 55 win team. With Brunson, the top 15 player. You got Karl Anthony Towns inside. You saw Minnesota missed him last night when they lost to the Lakers. So Karl Anthony Towns with Cats. I think Mikal Bridges. I really like this team. I really do. I do think they are the second best team in the Eastern Conference. I think they are the biggest threat to the Celtics in the East. Justin, do you agree?
I think they are. I've lost some confidence after last night.
Oh, after one game?
I know, but I didn't like the Karl Anthony Towns trade. I just didn't. Not a big Karl Anthony Towns guy.
Yeah, and you like the chemistry. You like the Nova guy chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, DiVincenzo in the playoffs. That guy's all heart, and that guy. And I think it hurts your depth too a bit. Like, I know you're already out with Richard Achua is going to be out. Mitchell Robinson's out, and Mitchell Robinson's always hurt. Like, you can't really rely on him. So, I don't really like anybody else in the East, so I'm going to go yes because, I'm not taking Philly. I could see the Pacers getting there. I still don't love their defense. I think they got a little bit better defensively. But so I will go the Knicks, but it's, I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried about the depth of that team.
You're a little worried. Yeah, I mean, I'm still going to say the Knicks. It's one game. I'm not after one of 82 games. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh yeah, they're after I've been saying it all summer, all fall. They're the second. They're the team that's the biggest threat to the Celtics. I'm staying there. I'm not moving off them. The only team I think has the only team you can make a real case for, I think, is the Bucks if they stay healthy. But the problem is if they stay healthy, because Giannis hasn't been healthy the last two postseasons. So I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say the Knicks. I am going to take the Knicks as the biggest threat to the Celtics in the Eastern Conference. But moving on to the later game last night with the T-Wolves and the Lakers. The Lakers won the game, but I think the 110 to 113, big night for Anthony Davis, had 34 and 18. But I think the big question is who has a better chance to make a run in the West this year, the T-Wolves or the Lakers? T-Wolves got to the conference final, but they ended up trading Karl Anthony Towns, got Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle in that trade. And the Lakers, they really outside of Dalton Connect, they really didn't make drafting Dalton Connect. They didn't make a ton of improvements this year. So I know the Lakers won, but look at these two teams. Who has a better chance to make a run? I'm still going to say the T-Wolves. I just think they have a better overall team. You could argue LeBron is better than Ant-Man, but I think they're very easy. Ant-Man could end up being better than LeBron this year, seeing the way LeBron played last night. So you argue it's a toss-up, I think, right now between Ant-Man and LeBron. I think that the T-Wolves have outside of, and I know Anthony Davis would be the guy you take second out of all those guys, but outside of that, I just think the T-Wolves have a little more of a deeper team. The Lakers are a little too top heavy, still too top heavy. So even though the T-Wolves lost Karl Anthony Towns, I'm still going to go with the T-Wolves. I think they have a better chance to make a run in the West.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I like the T-Wolves better than I do the Lakers. This Laker team was 43 wins last year. Like they were not great last year, and I know. They easily could have beat the Nuggets last year in that playoff series. They blew every game. They had a 20-point game every game. I think in that series they blew all of them. So, like Anthony Davis looked really good last night. LeBron was decent as well. I like Dalton Connect off the bench, but I don't know who else you're gonna rely on off the bench. Maybe Gabe Davis will give you a couple games where he can get you in double digits. Max Christie's all right. So I do like the Timberwolves. I love their defense, and I do think with DiVincenzo it helped out their depth because that was something last year that they just struggled at times to find guys to score off the bench, and I do think DiVincenzo is going to help that out there.
Yeah, DiVincenzo I think makes them a little bit deeper. Yeah, I don't think the T-Wolves are as good as last year because I think definitely Randall's a downgrade over Cats, but I do think they make a deeper run than the Lakers. Now, staying in the Western Conference. We'll answer two questions. The first one is who is the surprise team? Who is kind of the surprise playoff team in the West for both of us? And I'm going to go with the Rockets here. I like with Şengün. You still got Jalen Green on that roster. You got Fred VanVleet. I think this team can get like a 9 or 10 seed, and I think they could win a round there and maybe get a 7, get through the play-in tournament and get to the 7 seed. I think that's a decent starting 5 there. Jalen Green, I think, has got to take that next step. If he doesn't this year, that's not good. I think he's got to take. He's a good player, but he's got to become a franchise player. So I'm going to go Rockets here. I'm going to go Rockets. If I had to pick it, if I'm going to pick I was close between the Rockets and Spurs, but I'm going to go Rockets here. I think the Rockets are my sleeper to make the playoffs in the Western Conference.
I'm with you here. I like the Rockets as well. Last year they had about a 16-win improvement with the old Celtic coach. Ime Udoka. Yeah, Ime Udoka. His name was slipping there for a second. And I really like the Reed Shepherd pickup or the draft pick too. Again, guy came off the bench last year for Kentucky. Should have started. Again, question why. Never did start for the Wildcats last year. And I think he's a really good shooter. Şengün, you mentioned, really I feel like still not really a big name yet, but he had 21 and 9 last year with 5 assists. Again, kind of another, not saying kind of like a Jokic where you play point guard, you can kind of do a little bit of everything, and he's been phenomenal. If he can continue to grow, I really like this Rockets team, and I'm with you. I really think that this is a team that, again, even to get the 7th seed, again, that's not going to be an easy 7th seed. For whoever gets that 2 seed, that's not going to be easy outing. The Rockets could push a 2 seed to at least game 6 or something. I really like that roster with the coach.
Yeah, I can see that happen. I definitely could see the Rockets Yeah, I think the good roster, good coach. Yeah, I can very easily see the Rockets making the playoffs. Now, who would be our sleeper team to compete to win the Western Conference? It might not be a surprise to people because they've been the 2 seed outside of last year. They were the 2 seed the previous 2 years. But I'm gonna go with the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm gonna go with the Memphis Grizzlies. With Ja, with Bane. Bane missed half the year. Ja missed most of the season, and I love the Zach Edey. Zach Edey is perfect for that team. I don't think he's ever going to be a superstar, but I think he'd be a good player in that league, and he gives them size. And I think I think when we get to our rookie of the year, I won't give it away, but I think he's got a great chance to win rookie of the year. So I'm going to go Memphis here. I'm going to go Memphis. I think Memphis they're my sleeper. They are my sleeper to win the Western Conference. Justin, who's your sleeper to win the West?
I went to the New Orleans Pelicans here.
I don't think they have enough star power. I don't think they have enough star power. We're really good starting five, but I don't think they have enough star power. But good pick there because mine's a little obvious. Yours is kind of outside the box, and you never know. And Zion could finally become the guy everybody thinks he's going to be.
Yeah, totally. And I almost went to the Kings. We know all how that story will end, so I won't. No, I know they probably won't. They'll probably won't win a round in the playoffs this year, but I do like the bench. Like Jordan Hawkins had an awesome preseason. I know they benched him last year, but like it sounds like he's gonna get more run this year. If this team could stay healthy with Murray, Jose Alvarado off the bench, McCollum. Like again, if this team could stay healthy, I really do think that they could make a run this year. I know they were banged up when they got to the postseason, but I like that roster. If Zion can kind of put together, Jones, McCollum, Hawkins off the bench, Trey Murphy, they got the big extension. I think the Pelicans could be dangerous out if they could, make a run there, if they get in the playoffs.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I just don't trust Zion to stay healthy. And Zion, let's be honest, he's been good. He's been really good, but he hasn't been what we expected him to be. He just can't shoot threes. That's the problem. He never has developed a 3-point shot. That's the problem. And it's tough to be a top player in this league without a 3-point shot. So now moving on to the Eastern Conference, and we'll start with our sleeper team to make the playoffs in the East. And I am going to go with the Charlotte Hornets. I'm going to go with the Charlotte Hornets, and I know it's a big if LaMelo Ball stays healthy. That's a big if, but They got Miles Bridges. They got Brandon Miller, who's good. I think is a really good shooter. So I like the shooting on this team. So I'm going to go with the Charlotte Hornets. I'm going to go with the Hornets as my sleeper. But that's a big if, and LaMelo staying healthy is a big if.
Yeah, I took them too. I just don't trust. I don't know who to trust in this.
That's the problem.
Down there.
That's the issue. That's the issue. Yeah. Because you look at the Nets, they're not going to the playoffs. You look at the Pistons, they're not going to the playoffs. Wizards obviously not going to the playoffs. Raptors not going to the playoffs. Yeah, it's pretty much process of elimination. It's it's a tough one, but yeah, I think the Hornets just because they have. If LaMelo Ball stays healthy, they probably will.
Yeah, they probably will. Yeah, there's a little bit more talent. I know for a fact because you remember TJ Sorrentine, the Vermont hit the buzzer beater.
Yeah.
So my dad works with his brother, and TJ's on the Washington Wizards staff. So he was saying they're all in on Cooper, like they're all on tank mode to go get Cooper. So the Wizards will try their best there to get the number 1 overall pick. You mentioned it. Yeah, the Pistons are going to stink again. The Bulls aren't going to be very good. The Raptors are still kind of rebuilding as well. So I took the Hornets. I think they have a little bit more talent. But yeah, the big question is could LaMelo Ball stay healthy this year, stay on the floor? So yeah, I think the Hornets are the one there.
So sleeper team in the East to compete to sleeper team to win the Eastern Conference. And this kind of isn't again, this was tough too, but this is kind of not a sleeper because they made a deep run last year, but no one's really talking about them to make a run this year. So, I talked about it at the beginning of the show because they made a run last year and they won Game 7 at the Garden last year. But I'm going to go with the Pacers. I'm going to go with the Pacers because Tyrese Halliburton is a really good player. I think if he gets more aggressive in the fourth quarter, if he gets more aggressive, this Pacer team might be able to make a run because that was the problem. And that's why they lost Game 1 and they fell apart in that Celtics series. Is he couldn't stay healthy and he wasn't aggressive at the end of Game 1. So if Halliburton could be more aggressive late in the fourth quarter, I think it could be the Pacers. I think it definitely could be the Pacers. They're my sleeper. I know it's tough to pick a sleeper, but they are my sleeper in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I almost went with them. I took Orlando this year.
I had a feeling you'd take Orlando, yeah.
Yeah, I really like the Caldwell Pope addition there because he's a guy that could he'll shoot in the high 30s. high 30% for a 3-point shot. And again, he helps out that defense. So, and he'll help out, which they were really good at. I always thought they were going to get Malik Monk for Sacramento, and I think he would have fit perfect there. But I do think Pope is a good kind of second piece there, or second option. And, if the Magic could shoot the ball better this year, I do think they could be a tough out in the Eastern Conference. But yeah, I'm with you. It was kind of tough because, man, like which the Kings are in the East. I'd feel a lot better about our chances. I don't think
exactly.
Western Conference again. It's just totally stacked.
Exactly. So now we'll give our Rookie of the Year, MVP, and Finals prediction. We'll start with Rookie of the Year, and I'm going to go Zach Edey. It was to me, it was between Zach Edey and Dalton Knecht. I'm going to go Zach Edey. He's starting. He's a big. Exactly what was needed. He could run pick and roll with John Morant. I'm going to go Zach Edey. Zach Edey is my Rookie of the Year.
I went with Reed Shepherd. It was close between him, Edey, or Stephon Castle, who was awesome. And the Spurs Chris Paul has been raving about him. So I almost went there, but I took Shepherd because I do think he's going to have a good part of this offense. And we both mentioned it. We both think they could be sleepers. And I think that could be maybe a factor, if he's playing well and he's got a team that's in the race there in the Western Conference. So I really like Reed Shepherd. I think he fits really well. I think he fits what they need, and I do think he have a really nice year off the bench for Houston.
Who is your MVP? Me? It was close for me between Luka and SGA, but I just think that SGA is going to get more assists because he's got better players around him with and young ascending players around him with Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams. So he's got young ascending players around him. So I think he's going to get a lot more assists. I'm going to go SGA here. I'm going to go Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as my MVP.
Yeah, I'm with you here. Same thing as you here. I think because again, more than likely, OKC, they're going to be right there at Boston. Them and Boston are probably both going to be close to 60 wins. SGA, I saw this too, the stat, there's only been like 10 guys on record that have had a season where they've logged 30 points, 5.5 assists, and and shot like 62% field goal percentage wise. So, and he's done that back-to-back years. Like, I think he's there. And I think the OKC is now the 1 seed in a very competitive Western Conference, and I do think that's going to help him out to get that MVP this year.
And we'll wrap up talking about our finals pick. And I'm going to go with the last two champions in the finals, the Denver Nuggets and the Boston Celtics. I think it's going to be a great 7-game series, but I'm not going to have the Celtics repeating. I'm going to go with the Nuggets. I think Jokic wins his second championship. He's the MVP and wins the MVP of the finals. I think it's a great series between the two. I know they lost KCP, but they still get. But he was. I know he's a winning player, but he was the 4th player on their team. They still got Jokic. They still got Murray. They still got Michael Porter Jr. So I'm going with the Nuggets here. I'm going with the Nuggets to beat the Celtics in the NBA Finals.
I went chalk. I went Boston over OKC. I think Boston should roll through the Eastern Conference. They probably won't have much resistance there. And then, I think OKC, this is the year they get through. I think SGA is a big year. Chet Holmgren's only going to get better. Jalen Williams as well at the 4 spot. So I really like this OKC team, and I think, Boston beats them, but I do think OKC goes on a run.
Yeah. OKC could very easily get to the finals. They were the number 1 seed last year. Lost the Mavericks and Mavs in 6, but I think they could very easily get to the finals. But that's going to wrap it up this week that's going to wrap up this episode of Sports Talk with R&J. But we got the Yankees in the World Series for the first time in 15 years, and we got another week of college football. So make sure you tune in, and we'll be talking about that in about 10 minutes. So make sure you tune in for that.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All 4 Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.